Hello everyone. Okay, so this video is on the Virgo partial solar eclipse, not lunar but solar. So a new opportunity that's taking place on September 21st and 22nd around the world. And it is in relevance to the new moon that we had, excuse me, at in August in Virgo. And these are the planetary positions um, of the planets and their degrees and in what houses. And I've noted the retrograde. And this eclipse will be affecting people born with personal planets and points 24 to 30 degrees of the mutable signs as such, and 0 to 4 degrees of the cardinal signs as follows. Um, so the key aspects of the eclipse I've noted down. Um, so this eclipse is in opposition to Saturn retrograde in Pisces at that critical 28 degrees, and the eclipse is at that critical 29 degrees. These critical degrees are significant and make the eclipse even more powerful, as they are the closing, the finale, not the end of the chapter, but the closing of a book. The door closes behind, so you're forced into the new. And then there's, of course, other aspects going on, but I've explained those aspects in your September horoscope video. You can look at that up in the channel. And then some key dates here. So we had these set of eclipses in Pisces and Virgo started last year in September with a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. March 14th, we had a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. Related to this sign, it means that something ended in your Virgo-related house. And if you are a regular listener, you know that I liken eclipses to like a movie trailer of the movie that will play out in your life for the next 6 months or so. So that March 14th ending is something that was eclipsed out of your life in your Virgo-related house is coming to a finale here, which leaves a vacuum. And this solar eclipse in Virgo, this new opportunity, is filling up that void. And then we just recently had the September 7th lunar eclipse in Pisces. It was a total lunar eclipse. So that is being also triggered. Remember, we are between eclipses. So everything that's happened in between these eclipses is very, very significant. Remember, we're at the critical ending degrees of these signs, all this activity. So what's happening in between, we are lifted in between the veil. We are seeing what this is all about and how this will play out for a long time to come. So key events, key things. One is to mention what happened with the young gentleman who was assassinated, Charlie Kirk. That's a significant event. And in your lives, there will be significant events and happenings and things that will be discussed. So keep in mind those things. And then solar eclipses at 29 degrees and 5 minutes in recent history. So if you look up your emails, your diaries, and look up those dates, it will trigger a memory, and you can narrow your focus down around the significance of it. And then eclipse cycles in Virgo Pisces axes in recent history are those dates. And then Virgo is the sixth sign of the zodiac, so it rules health, habits, rituals of any kind. So even brushing your teeth is a ritual. Schedules like breaking up your day in 8-hour routines, 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for fun, entertainment, and relaxation, so that your psyche and your physical health are in sync. Being of service, Virgo is a very service-oriented sign. Taking care of someone, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Small animals, it rules small pets and animals. It is called the house of chaos and gossip, as it can be chaotic with all this scheduling and running around. But Virgo is a very organized sign. It hones in on something. It's a fix-it sign. It rules the health industry and diseases. So medicine, surgeons, doctors, nurses, surgical instruments, anything sharp, Virgo rules. Virgo has a very sharp, distinct way of using words. They can cut you like a knife. It is critical in its thinking, writing, and speaking. She is that way. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So is Gemini. But Virgo is ruled by the higher octave of Mercury. So more of the higher education, ideas, the full scope of the idea, where Gemini is the day-to-day, taking that idea and making it doable, practical, practical in the day-to-day routine, how to manifest that. Um, Virgo is a critical thinker. It is a very creative writer, very effective writer. Um, it can be very creative, and it can be very have analytical writings, um, such as stats and things like that. Learning, but on a deeper level. Um, Speaking, it Virgo is a masterful public speaker, commands any language, and social media. Mercury rules that, but it's mostly relegated to Gemini. However, since Mercury rules Virgo, it can be social media too, because you do have writing, um, promotion, and communication in that. So that is what Virgo is about and what these planets are doing and all that. And we did make a trip to Arizona at the last minute. We weren't forced. We decided we wanted to do it, but it was the last minute, and we just got back. So that's why these videos are going to be short and sweet, because I'm doing this on the fly. But you guys will probably like that, because some people hate my long videos. All right, let's just get into it. Hi, Aries. Okay, Aries, this is a video on the Virgo partial solar eclipse. It will be short and sweet. Please forgive me. I am out of town. I'm in Arizona. Um, we had something that we wanted to do, and it was the last minute. We just decided, let's go for it. So, yeah, but I wanted to put out the video nonetheless. And you guys will probably be happy that it's short. In any case, Aries, a solar eclipse is something of a new opportunity, all right? And you're having it in Virgo. And Virgo natally is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling, taking care of someone, um, small animals, and all that. And I explained that in the intro. Um, of course, it is opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So your Pisces related house, your natally, your 12th house of the psyche, is also being triggered. And we just had a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. In any case, for details on what an eclipse is, how it works, and all that, please rewind to the intro. It explains it all. And I give you some dates too. Um, for you, Aries, this has to do with either work routine, a boss, um, or a mentor. Um, but there's there's definitely something new coming in here that eclipsed something out of your sixth house back in March, because we had a total lunar eclipse in Virgo back then. And eclipse take a course of 6 months to play out. So now we are having a solar eclipse in Virgo, a new opportunity to fill that void. The only thing is that Virgo is a very analytical sign, probing, critical. Um, it's a fix-it sign. It zones in on a problem and tries to fix it. Now, this can have to do with anything regarding your sixth house. It can have to do with a work schedule or a ritual or a health issue. Um, but for most of you, um, because it's triggering the opposite sign of Pisces and your 12th house of the psyche, and because you're ruled by Mars, the god of war, um, th- this might be something where you are struggling with as far as self criticism. Um, Not that Aries doesn't do criticism well. You absolutely, you are ruled by the Ram, and with your sign, it's all about the mind. The head, the face, but the mind. You are a fast thinker. Um, Virgo, on the other hand, is a sign that um, is a critical thinker, but it's slow and methodical. So that's where the dichotomy comes in, where the struggle may come in, um, and to narrow it even down a little bit more for you to understand, it's seeming that whatever this opportunity that's coming in, again, maybe a mentor, maybe a boss, maybe a health practitioner, or what have you. That is maybe showing you a different way or different path, you may harshly judge yourself. So the only thing I want you to take away from this is try not to be defensive or critical of criticism. Um, Do not internalize it. Again, because you're ruled by the god of war, Mars, you can get frustrated and maybe being defensive. But take it for what it is. This is a new opportunity for you to switch your mind of thinking um, in being a little bit more methodical. But don't be too self-critical. Okay. Like I said, short and sweet. If you have any questions, though, please throw them in the comments. I answer all questions. Take care, Aries. Hi, Taurus. Um, so this is a video on the partial solar eclipse in Virgo, and I've given all the details, dates, and meanings in the beginning of the video, if you want to listen to that. And this will be a very short and sweet video for each sign, which you may love because my videos are probably too long. Um, because we did make a sudden trip to Arizona. I just actually just came back, and I'm recording this on the fly. In any case, yes, the details are in the beginning of the video. Taurus, you rule the second house of job, income, and value system. And Virgo rules your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, um, and gambling, or the gambling on life. Now, the good news for you, Virgo trines your sign because you are both very compatible, both earth signs. Um, so, Virgo, as I explained in the beginning of the video, is very sensible, practical, realistic, and it's in service. And it rules the sixth house of health, habits, scheduling, and routine, and taking care of someone. Uh, so there's responsibility, the sense of responsibility. You both have that. And with Taurus naturally ruling the money, markets, and economy, there's a sense of being all three, um, realistically and with responsibility. So there's a mutual, let's say, quote unquote, happiness in taking any criticism uh, of how to perfect your Virgo related house, because criticism is associated with Virgo. Virgo is a fix it sign, it hones in on something um, that is wrong and fixes it. So there's criticism there. Um, and also remember, Venus rules you. And Venus doesn't really do what Virgo does. It doesn't harp on the negative. Venus likes to be diplomatic and politically correct. Um, Thus, this may have been the friction in this house. But this trine helps you understand that criticism. And it, of course, it's opposite Pisces, and Saturn is back in Pisces, so it's triggering that house. There's something there. Okay, and Pisces is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, and so forth. So that's all playing out as well. For most of you, because Uranus had entered your sign back in 2018, um, friends, there's this friction or criticism of maybe between your love life or children and your friends and groups uh, house. And you're more or less, the responsible person. But with Uranus having entered your sign, it sort of turned your world upside down, um, and so on and so forth. And it might have turned upside down your 11th house of friends and groups. And your concentration was on the fifth house of love, romance, and children. Many of you are pregnant or have had children, and you've been holding the fort there, where your 11th house might have maybe um, not collapsed, but messed up in somehow. And that has affected you. Now, with the solar eclipse, and because it's trining your sign, it is a new opportunity that's going to help you understand that criticism and relay it back. Um, it's going to help you um, with any self judgment that you may have. So, you might be reaching out to a friend, or a friend might be reaching out to you. Um, and this will play out in the next 6 months of your life. Remember, eclipses are like a movie trailer that you experience at the time of the eclipse, and that will play out um, in the next 6 months of your life. So that's what, for most of you, what this new way of looking at criticism or self judgment um, of maybe being exploited or not understood or vice versa, that's going to help clear it all up for you. So it is all good, and you are going to have um, a very new and brighter opportunity here. All right. So, like I said, short and sweet. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Talk to you soon, Taurus. Hello, Gemini. Okay, this is the video on the partial solar eclipse in Virgo. And I've given you a lot of details on what is a solar eclipse, what's a lunar eclipse, the dates, the degrees, and all the pertinent information in the beginning of the video. So it's a foundation to understand what I will be discussing for you, um, for your sign. But it will be short and sweet, and that's because I we went to Arizona for something that we decided at the last minute. I just actually just came back, so I'm doing this on the fly, and you guys will probably like that because my videos are usually long, so this will be a short video. In any case, Gemini, Virgo for you rules your fourth house of home, family, your parents, your country, your pride, your patriotism. It is a very deeply emotionally rooted house. Um, and Virgo natally rules health habits, routines, taking care of someone, small animals, and all that. And this is also naturally triggering um, your Pisces related house because it's opposite Virgo. This eclipse is opposing actually Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And Pisces is your 10th house of career status and authority figures. So that's all playing out as well. But what this solar eclipse is doing for you, Gemini, is well, a solar eclipse is a new opportunity, and but it's bringing up things that were in the past, most likely, in your conditioning, in your upbringing. So uh, it's about your most likely about your parents or a parent, or and how you were raised. Um, you might have had maybe very detail oriented parent or parents, or maybe um, critical parents, or you may have had, a very loving a home, but there is this sense that there was maybe a struggle with how you were in the house was not the same person that you were outside the house, because you're an air sign. Virgo is about details and organization. uh, you're not you're not a detailed person in the sense that you're a butterfly. You like to go from one thing to the other, uh, friends and people and ideas, um, and just a little bit of this and that. You are related to Virgo in the sense that you do take an idea and make it into practical daily life routine. Um, but Virgo is more of the idea um, and the detail, but she doesn't put it into practical daily routine. That's why you'll see a Virgo most successful as an executive assistant or an assistant of some kind. And Virgo has a tendency to be self critical. So, what this is triggering is the way you might have been raised or the way your parents are, and now you are trying to build your own space and home. Um, and you you want maybe none of um, the criticism that you have had that bogged you down, because again you're an air sign, but you may be coming up against some obstacles that you can't be all up in the air about it. The criticism was there for a reason, and that might be cliche, but again, this is on a much more deeper level. So this is a new opportunity for you to shape this new family of yours or this new space of yours without that criticism that you have had, maybe um, with a parent. Um, Maybe there was um, this sense of not being free. And it might not be your parent, it might be your siblings, because you do rule the sign of siblings, cousins, and extended family. So um, it might be them that you were critical of, or they were critical of you, or there may be some sense of responsibility of taking care of a sibling, and your parents and your home and family was somehow involved. In any case, this is yes, this is at the analytic degree, 29th degree, the critical 29th degree. And usually, anything that happens at the very beginning of a sign or the very ending of a sign is usually that cutoff, that finale, that realization. So, this is a powerful eclipse nonetheless, even though it's a partial solar eclipse, but it's going to be an important new opportunity. It's closing the door on something in the past, and it has to do with your home and family and your conditioning and what you are trying to achieve with your new space or your new family. And there's something in the past that you are wanting to revisit so you can close that. Um, and that's why eclipses are like a movie trailer of the movie that'll play out in your life for the next 6 months. Um, if that, and this might come to you in a vision or a dream, even because you have Pisces, the ruler of dreams, opposing this solar eclipse. So that might be it. It's very deep. On a very deep level. So that's all I have to say about this for you, for your sign. Like I said, short and sweet. But if you are confused or have questions, please put them in the comment section. I'll answer them. Hi, Cancer. Okay, this is a video on the solar eclipse in Virgo. A solar eclipse is a new opportunity, and I've given a much more detailed analysis of what an eclipse is. I give you dates to help you trigger memories and try to narrow it down, and how eclipses work and all that, in the beginning of the video. But for you, Cancer, first, Virgo rules your third house of communication, um, types of communication, transportation or modes of transportation. It rules siblings, which is very important for you, cousins, extended family. It rules the social media. It rules a very close knit community of people and language. And Virgo natally rules the sixth house of health, habits, routines, and taking care of someone natally. So that's playing out in the background, as well as this eclipse is opposing Pisces, and we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and also the North Node in Pisces. And Pisces is your ninth house of higher education, publishing, foreigners, foreign lands, and what have you. What the solar eclipse is highlighting for you, Cancer. Well, first, Cancer, you are a water sign, and you are a very nurturing sign. So think of the nurturing mother. Um, and you and Virgo is an earth sign, um, and it also takes care. It also, yes, rules taking care of someone. So that's it's there's that similarity. However, cancers tend to, like I said, nurture. So you can be like a mother figure, a matriarchal figure, even a father figure. But there's this nurturing of wanting to do something for someone. It may be your siblings or what have you, but it tends to take on the the full force of what that person can do for themselves. Virgo is not like that. Virgo it zones in on a problem. It's a problem fixer, but it's more of the tough love kind of sign. It's critical. It analyzes, and that can help a person figure out their own strengths and weaknesses. So that's where the clash is, or the dichotomy is. However, because you're a water sign and Virgo is an earth sign, it, you sextile each other. So water and earth, make mud and clay, and it sticks. It's solid. It's foundation. So that sextile is going to help you. Sextile is a supportive aspect. So you will realize that you will internally realize that the criticism is for the good of the person. Um, instead of doing something for someone else, maybe your sibling again, since it's your third house, or a cousin or what have you, or maybe even a neighbor, you will realize that um, being more being more critical, but in a nurturing way, is best, instead of um, be smothering the person where you are doing everything for that person. And that's where the sextile will come in. So this is not a bad eclipse. Well, solar eclipses in general are good because they're new opportunities. However, it's at the analytics, 29th degree, the very critical ending sign, ending degree of a sign. Usually, the very beginning and the very ending in a sign are very important, and they set the finale, the final stage. And this is the final stage of a realization that you can be more hands off, where it will actually nurture their own inner strengths and weaknesses, and they can improve on that. And you will have felt fulfilled. And as I mentioned in the beginning, eclipses are like a movie trailer of the movie that's going to play out in your life for the next 6 months or so. And this is a new opportunity. And it can be about a business that you're starting, and not being, let's say, if you're a CEO, or the owner of the business, not being um, um, enamored in the minutia details to delegate it off to somebody else. Or it can be a myriad of things, but that's what this eclipse is making you realize, and it's closing the door on the old way of doing things, which has played out in the last 6 months since the March total lunar eclipse ending in your Virgo related house, so that now there's a new opportunity to do something new going forward. Um, and that's about it. Like I said, short and sweet. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I'll answer them. Hi, Leo. Okay, this video is on the solar eclipse in Virgo, and I have gone into detail of what this solar eclipse is about, the dates, the opposition to a lunar eclipse, how eclipses work, and so forth. And I've also given you dates that it relates to, so it can trigger maybe a memory, so you can focus it down more. And that's all in the beginning of this video. Now, this video is going to be short and sweet and to the point, as I had to make a trip to Arizona. And actually, I have just gotten back, and I'm doing this on the fly, so it'll be short. And you guys will probably like that because my videos are usually long. So yes, solar eclipse is something of a new opportunity, a new realization, whereas the lunar eclipse is something that is ending. This is something that's going to be beginning. Now, Virgo is your second house of job, income, and your value system. And this eclipse is opposing Pisces, which Saturn has just retrograded back into Pisces. And that is your eighth house of other people's finances. So that's in play. Virgo also natally rules the sixth house of health habits, routines, taking care of someone, and small animals. Um, so there's a somewhat of a new opportunity or a new realization in regards to your money and how you and your relationship with money or a job. Um, the song comes up: the more money we make, the more problems we have. It's something of a theme for you. Um, and let's break that down a little bit more. Virgo is about critical thinking and being analytical. Um, it's about criticism to affect a change. And in your case, it's building on your talents or your experience to make it better, to advance it to the next level, as um, as you're realizing that things need to improve, maybe in your home, maybe a new car, maybe you know, having extra money for luxury items or a trip or what have you. You're not in a bad position as far as money or maybe even work, as you are either enjoying maybe a new job, maybe a new position, or most of you, your partner are making more money. But again, you can see that to get to the next level, and maybe even pay down debt, something has to change. So you're in a sort of a holding pattern here. And this eclipse will be either a new realization or a new opportunity, in regards to your income. Okay. Um, and and it is triggering, your eighth house, so your partner's income, and it's in the form of an opposition, and that might be that, you're realizing that, the the position, the good position you're in, is maybe putting the weight on a partner, and you want to better that. So this new opportunity, um, is coming in, or maybe a realization, that will play out for the next 6 months, and then there's other things that will go on, but it's preparing you, for when Jupiter comes in your sign next summer, which will just push you out there in front. It'll give you that opportunity to, maybe if it's networking, that is the problem for you, right now. Next year, it will just blow up, and you'll have all um, these people power that you'll be able to tap into, because Jupiter will put you out there. But you're in a holding pattern. Jupiter is in your 12th hidden house, behind the scenes. So you're perfecting something. And with this eclipse, it looks like you're perfecting on your old skills. And I've mentioned this in your past videos. Um, think of what you have done before, what you're an expert on. Think of a creative way of building up on that. Okay, I mean, it's not a bad eclipse. It's and it's, solar eclipses, aren't bad at all, because they're new opportunities. But it is at the critical 29th degree of Virgo, so it is something of a finale, of something of, uh, being permanent, um, shutting the door on the old way that you dealt with money. Um, be, because Leos tend to, when it's like partners' income. Yes, there's shared finances, but you tend to think that it's all yours. um, uh, in any case, yes, I'm not going to go too deep into this. Like I said, I want to keep it short and sweet. This is something of a new opportunity or a new realization on, um, honing in, zoning in on what your past experience and expertise is, and building on that with a new set of eyes. But keeping in the back of your mind that the more money we make, the more problems we have. So there's a balance that's going on. And Jupiter in your 12th hidden house is helping you with all this. Okay? So if you have any questions, Leo, leave them in the comments. Take care. Hi, Virgo. Virgo, this is going to be a very short and sweet, video on the Virgo solar eclipse, as I had to go to Arizona, um, for something that we decided on the last minute, and we actually just came back, and I'm doing this on the fly. In the beginning of the video, I do explain everything about eclipses, and, I give you some dates if you want to narrow your focus, and maybe it'll trigger a memory of those solar eclipses in the past and lunar eclipses, and I explain how eclipses work and all that. That's all in the beginning, of the video. All right, so you are the star of the show. This solar eclipse, which means something of a new opportunity, is happening in your first house of self, your physical appearance, your profile. And it is opposing, the Pisces. It is opposing Saturn, which is retrograde back in Pisces now. And we just, came off of a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. So that is being triggered. And Pisces is your seventh house of partnerships of all kinds. Um, Virgo, like I've mentioned in your other scopes, there's a lot going on for you. Um, there's a lot of relationships as well playing out. One could be work. Many of you might have gone back to a position, that you knew, would, get you through, maybe a tight time in your life these past few months, or, maybe your partner's income took a hit, and you had to go back to something that, was guaranteed income, or many of you are doing two jobs, and helping maybe even more than one person out with money. In any case, um, there's a lot going on for you. You might be also in care of someone or taking care of someone. Virgo, you rule the sixth house of health habits, routine, scheduling, taking care of someone, and small animals. Um, so that is the focus, but it is your first house of self. And this solar eclipse is at the critical 29th degree of Virgo. Um, while it's opposing Saturn in Pisces at Pisces critical almost 29 degrees at 28 degrees. And usually big things happen in the very beginning degrees of a sign and the very ending degrees of the sign. And one of the major things that happen at the ending of a sign is a finality, a closing of a door, not a finishing of a chapter, but a finishing of a book. And you're jettisoned off to the next book or the next beginning. Um, so okay, so if it is a job, you might have, like I said, might have gone to a job you had done previously. However, um, during the solar eclipse, you might realize that this is not the job that you want. Like you went back to it out of necessity, and you thought it would be okay, but you're realizing that it's just not stimulating, mentally stimulating enough for you. Or you may have two jobs, and the struggle of keeping, burning the candle at both ends is affecting you health wise. So you're needing to make some decisions here. If it is Now, if it is about a partnership, whether personal, platonic, or business, um, and with that total lunar eclipse in Pisces earlier this month, um, it either ended, and you realize that that ending has now, with this solar eclipse, changed you to a new person that you're going to go on this path. Remember, eclipses are like a movie trailer of the movie that's going to play out in your life for the next 6 months. So this new opportunity is this new you, which that partnership did not serve you anymore. Um, for those of you that are reconciling or have reconciled, or it's changing around, what this solar eclipse will make you realize is that, and I'm trying not to use cliche words because I hate when astrologers use like very cliche words. Um, it's making you realize that the old way of doing things, yes, that's a cliche, but your expectations, your idealization of what that partnership should be, will is not going to solidify this reconciliation. It will tear it apart or dissolve it. Your old expectation or idealization of the partnership. So there is this letting go of that past expectation and moving forward with what you both agree what the partnership will be about. And there's a letting go on your side and the other side. And this will help solidify this reconciliation so that by the end of the 6 months, you will have changed into this new person, because the solar eclipse is a new opportunity in your first house. So it's your profile, your new person that you're experiencing, realizing on the solar eclipse. Straightforward and simple as that. Like I said, short and sweet. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Talk to you later. Hi, Libra. Okay, this is your video on the solar eclipse in Virgo. Um, this will be a very short and sweet and to the point video, as I did have to go to Arizona. It was a last minute thing, and we actually just got back, and I'm doing this on the fly. Um, but probably many of you will like this video because it's short, because my videos are usually very long. And in the beginning of the video, I give you all the information you need on the solar eclipse dates, and what eclipses are and all that. So that's all in the beginning of the video. So Virgo is your 12th hidden house of the psyche, of the past, your dreams, confining spaces, you need to be alone, and all that. And which is sort of uncompatible thing for a Libra, because Libras don't like to be alone. You guys are the ruler of partnerships, all kinds of partnerships. And you have gone through the eclipses for the past 2 years of eclipses in your sign and your partnership sign. So um, partnerships and relationships have either ended or new ones have begun. All that has cleared out now. It's all in the past, and hallelujah for that. Now, what's happening with eclipse cycles of Pisces and Virgo for you, Libra, is Pisces is your sixth house of daily routine, habits, and rituals. And Virgo, again, is your 12th hidden house of the psyche in the past. So, what these eclipses are doing now for you are clearing out your past expectations of what partnerships are, what you present to the world, your profile is, and your daily habits and routines. So some of you have come out of a relationship single, and now you are taking a step back and reevaluating what all this means and on to the next relationship. For example, others, it could have been a passing away of someone dear and near to you. Um, for others, it could have been that now you are a new parent and your old self is, in the past, and now you are dealing with being a parent, and so on and so forth. But to narrow it down, this is not an ending per se. It is a solar eclipse, so it's a new opportunity that is going to come in, or you are going to realize something new, and it has again to do with your either your psyche or your past expectations, or the time you spend alone, and this is going to be a very healing as well eclipse, because it is going to fill this void of the total lunar eclipse we had back in March in Virgo. So that ended something in your 12th hidden house, or the past. And now this is a new opportunity or realization that's going to fill up that void, and set you on a new path forward. And your psyche, your need to be alone, or your alone time, is actually where you do your best work in, as far as being detailed and oriented, honing in on a problem, and and solving what needs to be solved, because that's what Virgo does. The only thing is, just be careful of self-criticism or analyzing too much, because Virgo is very famous of that. Don't be too self-critical about the past. Like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be free and single. But now you might be self-criticizing. Maybe I wasn't fair, or maybe I wasn't, because you're all about fair and balance. Um, Everything happens for a reason. So you are being set on a new path of how to think about the past. And this eclipse is going to help you, as well as your workload, your sixth house of health, habits, routine, taking care of someone. This is going to remedy that, as you have been burning the candle at both ends as well, because you have a lot going on in your fifth house too, of love, romance, children, creativity. You have a lot going on there. So this will free up your schedule, and definitely free up the clutter in your 12th hidden house and your psyche. Or you might be starting something new behind the scenes. And this is the solar eclipse is heralding that maybe new relationship in secret, or a new creative project behind the scenes for many of you. But you are putting something behind, because this is at the very critical 29th degree. And I explained that in the intro, but it's a finality. It's usually eclipses, or anything that happens at the very beginning of a degree of the sign, or ending degree of a sign, it's very prominent. It is one of those things where you look back and you say, oh yes, on that day that happened, and that's what changed everything. Okay, Libra, like I said, short and sweet. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them for you. Take care. Hi, Scorpio. Scorpio, this is a video on the solar eclipse in Virgo. I give you all the details of eclipses in general, and this solar eclipse, as well as what are eclipses and how they play out. and dates that are relevant, that maybe you can check your emails or diary on to narrow the focus down of what this eclipse might mean for you. And that is all in the beginning of the video. But this video will be very short and sweet for each sign and to the point, as I had to do a trip. We went to Arizona. It was a last minute decision that we wanted to do, and we actually just came back, and I'm recording this on the fly, if you will. So some of you guys will really like it because my videos are usually long. So yes, Virgo for you rules your 11th house of groups, friends, associations, or your hopes, wishes, and dreams of how you want to be seen amongst these people. Virgo also rules the 6th house of scheduling routine, taking care of someone or a project, small animals. So that's playing out in the background. And it is opposing retrograde Saturn, which has retrograded back in Pisces. And that is your 5th house of love, romance, children, and creativity. But to go back to Virgo, this is not a bad eclipse in two reasons. One, it's a solar eclipse, so no harm done. It's a new opportunity, or a realization, a happy realization. And the second good point for you is that it sextiles your sign. So it's not opposing, not squaring. And a sextile is a supportive aspect. It gets your sign and you get it. And none the more better than your 11th house. So this sextile is a support and uplifting from a group, a friend, friends, or an association of some kind. You're being uplifted, or being brought out into the center of things. And this is filling up a void or a vacuum that the total lunar eclipse in Virgo that happened back in March. It has played out, where something ended here. Maybe your role in this group is changing. Maybe you're becoming a leader of some kind, or you're adding on groups or something. But this is a new opportunity and some kind of an upgrade within these groups of friends. And it is opposing the 5th house of love, romance, and children and creativity. If there are issues or problems with your 5th house, here your 11th house is supporting you in that aspect, to heal if you have had any issues with your 5th house or any reconciliation. It is that go between. So new opportunities that are coming in after some kind of an ending, like I mentioned, that happened back in March, that has reached its finality now. There's a vacuum, and this vacuum is being filled with the solar eclipse, and it is it is at the 29th critical degree of Virgo. Whenever something happens in the very beginning or the very ending of a sign, it's usually a finality, a door that's being closed that you can't go back to, because there is a new door that's opening up. I gave the analogy, I think, in the September scope, like the Matrix with that key guy. He could not open a new door until the old door had closed. So that's what this is. And it's especially significant because it's opposing Saturn in Pisces at its critical 28 point whatever degree, almost that ending degree. So it's significant. It'll be one of those things that you look back in time and definitely know that your life turned around amongst these groups and friends on that time, in that week, on that date. So this is a good thing for you, Scorpio, and it can play out in many different ways, but it's a sextile, so it's a good thing. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I answer all questions. Take care, Scorpio. Hi, Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, this is a video on the Virgo solar eclipse that's happening. And again, you might have felt this way before, or during these days, or maybe a few days after, or a week after. In the beginning of the video, I go through all the details of an eclipse, lunar and solar, and give you dates to what it's related to, so you can narrow your focus down. Narrow your focus down. And I give you recent dates in relations to this eclipse so that you can look at your diary. This video will be short and sweet and to the point, as we had to, well, not had to, we made a choice to go to Arizona for last minute. So I'm just got back and I'm recording this on the fly. So Virgo for you is the top of your chart. It's your 10th house of career, status, reputation, authority figures. It's any volunteer or philanthropy that's work that's done. And of course, Virgo is opposite Pisces. So this solar eclipse is opposing your fourth house of home, family, and parents. That's what Pisces holds for you. Now, in the background, Virgo natally rules the sixth house of health, habits, schedule, routine, taking care of someone, and gossip and chaos. So that is playing out also in the background. For many Sages, you are doing a million and one things at the same time. Um, there's just a lot going on with your schedule or routine. For others who may not be working, it may still be a very busy life tending to details or taking care of someone. Um, and with the opposition to your fourth house of home and family, it seems obvious that it is related. This this taking care of someone is related to your home and family or parents, or this status, career, um, is also related to your fourth house and home and family, and I'll explain how. So there's a square going on, and with squares, what it means is you do things one way, and that sign, so Virgo in this instant, does things another way. Uh, so so very clearly, you like to do things in a more freer way. Okay, not getting bogged down on the details. You're the big picture person, gal or guy, and you don't want to be bothered with the details. Versus Virgo is very concerned about details because it is a fixed sign, and the devil is in the details. So it wants to hone in on what is not working right, and that's just not your style. So that's how the square can work out. And in that instance, with this opposition, it can be that a parent or parents or someone in your home and family has always maybe pointed out, or maybe have nagged you, maybe um, to to be more focused, to be more detail oriented, or to maybe narrow down what you want to do. Instead of like maybe jumping jobs, let's say, or jumping relationships, or jumping onto the next big, better idea. Uh, that may be where the opposition is playing out. The trick to understand that dichotomy and have it work in your favor is developing that creative freedom, the creative project in a more disciplined, detail oriented way, Virgo, which in the future actually does free you up to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So, in any case, the solar eclipse is either a person, opportunity, or an epiphany or realization of how to develop your ideas into tangible results. Because what what for many of you bothers you is a criticism, and it might be from home and family or parents. Criticism that, yeah, great, you've traveled the world. Yeah, great, you have all these interesting ideas that are like none other. They're riveting, but you have nothing to show for it. That's what um, that's what might be bothering you. That's where the square might be. But if you switch your mind again to understanding that being more disciplined in narrowing your focus down, maybe even from a very big idea to one component of that idea, is actually very liberating. It can be very liberating. In any case, that's what this solar eclipse will be highlighting. Again, either a person or an opportunity or some kind of a realization that comes in to help you hone in your ideas into or your creativity into tangible results. So look for that. And it's at the critical 29th degree. So this is a finale. This is closing the door on the old way of resisting those criticisms, shutting that door down, to opening this new door of maybe accepting part, like I said, maybe narrowing your focus down on an idea to a particular project that you will see results, and because Virgo is a result oriented sign, and it rules your 10th house. It's right there on your midheaven. So it would behoove you, because that will jettison you up to this top of your career and status, which will be very fulfilling for you. It will be fulfilling for your family and loved ones, and all around. Um, and Tap into your Jupiter, because Jupiter is working hard for you, and it is in Cancer, your eighth house of joint finances. So there you go. There is a person that is going to help you somehow, either financially, um, or taking a lot of burden of the frustration. So look out for that person, and you might have already had this conversation. Okay, Sag, short and sweet. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Take care. Hi, Capricorn. Okay, so this video is, on the solar eclipse in Virgo, um, and it will be very short and sweet to the point, um, because I just came off of a trip that came up suddenly. So I'm doing this on the fly, but you'll probably love it, because I usually do long videos. So yeah, this will be a very short video. Um, so I explain in the beginning of the video all about the eclipse and eclipses in general, and give you dates to narrow your focus down, and maybe look up your diary or emails, and help you narrow it down, because it might trigger a memory. But that's all found in the beginning of the video. Uh, for Virgo, for you, Capricorn, is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, foreign lands, long distance traveling, publishing, and the World Wide Web. Virgo also natally rules the sixth house of routines, scheduling, rituals, taking care of someone, chaos, and gossip. So that's playing out in the background. Now, a solar eclipse is a new opportunity. And Virgo is opposite Pisces. And so this solar eclipse is opposing Pisces. And Pisces is your third house of communication. Capricorn, for most of you, this is about, you're very busy, because you also had Uranus just entered Gemini in your sixth house of routine and schedule. And like I mentioned in your other scopes, Pluto's in Aquarius, just building up your second house of job and income. So a new job. And your focus is very much on work, routine, scheduling, your job, and just busy, busy, busy. Just putting your head down and grinding away, and always putting off relationships, maybe creative projects, um, maybe home and family, or friends. It's always like, um, eh, maybe tomorrow, maybe next, maybe this weekend for sure. And when the weekend comes, you sign up for overtime, and you think in the back of your mind, well, this person, will understand, because my focus is building this career, this thing that will benefit all of us. Um, but you also realize that you need that connection, and then you say, well, next weekend, and the next weekend comes up, and you have to catch up on everything else, um, because last weekend you had the overtime, and so this relationship can be put on hold for another week, for the third weekend, and so on and so forth, before you realize that it's been a year, it's been 6 months, or the relationship has deteriorated, grown apart, or is about to end, and you're stunned as to why. I've been here working, trying to make things better for all of us, and this is how I'm repaid. um, and for most of you, for others, your partner can be very understanding, but can say, no, it's okay, I understand, but that natural affinity, that natural connection will naturally dissolve by this time apart, or by this neglect. And you don't want to do that, because this relationship or these relationships are critical for you, uh, for your mental psyche. Yeah, Capricorn. And then, of course, it's just that whole health, habit, and routine that Virgo rules. So your health is at stake, your psyche is at stake. Remember, the sixth house Virgo natally rules, but this is about your ninth house. But in general, it's about breaking up your day in 8 hour routines, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours for work, and definitely 8 hours for fun, relaxation, and entertainment and connection with others. Um, Very, very important, and I can't overstress that. In any case, this solar eclipse will, and that's the purpose of eclipses. If you don't take the action, the universe steps in and eclipses something in or out, because of you not taking action, or not being able to take an action, or putting it on the back burner. So something did eclipse out of your life in as far as your ninth house is concerned, back in March with that total lunar eclipse in Virgo. So that, eclipses, like I've mentioned in the beginning of the video and other times, it's a movie trailer of the movie that'll play out in your life for the next 6 months. So with that total lunar eclipse back in March, it has played out. It has ended something, and now this solar eclipse, it's a new opportunity and it is at the critical 29th degree of finalities. So it is closing the door on that vacuum, and it is bringing in this new realization, opportunity, or connection, um, to force track you on the right track of connecting again. Um, and it can have to do with, like I mentioned, it's, your ninth house, so foreigners, maybe you haven't visited family and they're at long distance. Maybe it's your higher education. Maybe it's about publishing or the World Wide Web, and everything's all mixed in for you, because you Mars is going into Scorpio, so your friends and groups, um, your love life or children, because Uranus is retrograding back into Taurus, and that's what that is for you, as well as Neptune is still in Aries, so your fourth house of home and family. So very important. Okay, so that's what this eclipse is about. Capricorn, short and sweet. It's a new opportunity, a realization of an epiphany that the universe will force you to reconnect and not put things off. Um, yeah. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Take care. Hello, Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, this is the video on the solar eclipse in Virgo. And in the beginning of the video, I explain everything about the solar eclipse, and I give you dates and degrees. Um, and this will be a very short and sweet and to the point video, as we had to make um, we didn't have to make, we chose to make a trip to Arizona. Last minute, and we actually just got back hours ago, so I'm doing this on the fly. But many of you will like a short video because mine are usually long. So yes, Virgo for you rules your eighth house, um, and we call that the house of sex, death, and taxes. So intimacy, shared finances, inheritances, um, the past, taboo subjects all around, and credits, loans, government benefits, and so forth. But it is usually deep, dark in quotation, intensive subjects. And Virgo natally rules the sixth house of health, habits, routine, taking care of someone, um, and scheduling. Small animals too fall in that. Um, and the solar eclipse, well, Virgo naturally is opposite Pisces. And so this solar eclipse is opposing Pisces, which Saturn has retrograded back into Pisces. And that is your second house of job, income, and your value system. Um, and many other things going on. But to narrow it down, and like I said, to make it brief and to the point, this is a solar eclipse. So it's a new opportunity or a realization, an epiphany of some sort, but a forced realization, or a forced epiphany, as it is an eclipse. An eclipse is very powerful. And it is a continuation of the March's total lunar eclipse in Virgo. Something ended and it has played out its time. Now there's a vacuum, and this solar eclipse is a new opportunity that's filling in that vacuum. Aquarius, for you, it has to do mainly with either helping a partner through some maybe dark times they're going through. Maybe it's about shared finances, or maybe it's about intimacy. Now, that can mean about sex, um, and or it is about being really intimate with someone, bearing your all, understanding. And Aquarians are they're very aloof in their connections and feelings. They don't like touchy feely crying people or emotional people. They don't like emotions, and certainly not attention in um, the intimate department. But oh, and some of you might. I mean, it's all dependent on where your moon sign is, where your Mars sign is, but just on general. And what this solar eclipse is doing is it's making you realize that the devil is in the detail of looking at how you care for a partner when they're going through a certain issue. Virgo is the sign of service, and it's taking care of someone. And for most of you, it's about a partner, and a partner who's either very dependent on you emotionally or maybe financially, or something has happened to them where they're in a quote unquote dark place, and you're being called upon to not just assist this partner, but involve yourself with lifting this partner. Um, and again, it might be about taboo subjects, or maybe a recent passing of someone, or maybe it is about government, debt, or or things like that, or the discovery of relishing actually in getting all into the weeds of um, emotional intensity of being intimate. It can be that, but your sign in Virgo is what we call a quincunx. So you have um no compatibility with each other. So that's what a quincunx is. However, quincunx don't necessarily don't have to be bad, and that is apparent with you know um, nothing compatible, so no problem. But it can also jumpstart things. It's almost like a square where it jumpstarts something that you want to avoid, or maybe um, are at odds with. And this solar eclipse is going to help you with that. It's something new that's going to start up. Um, and you probably already know what this is, most definitely. So that's it, short and sweet. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you. Hello, Pisces. Hi, dear Pisces. This is your video on the solar eclipse in Virgo. Woohoo! Your seventh house of partnerships. And a solar eclipse is a new opportunity, Pisces. So, no nail biting. It's all good. In the beginning of the video, I explain everything about the solar eclipse and eclipses in general, and give you dates so you can narrow your focus down. Maybe pull up your diary or emails, and it can trigger a memory. Um, and I am doing this on the fly because we did make a sudden trip to Arizona, and we have just gotten in literally just a couple hours ago, as I'm recording this on the fly. Um, so it will be short and sweet and to the point. I'm sorry, Pisces. I hit the wrong button and it stopped recording. Anyway, short, sweet, and to the point. Um, and it is short and sweet and to the point for you because it is about your seventh house of partnerships. Um, so there's a natural opposition because Virgo is opposite your sign. And again, are not bad. Both benefit, or one benefits. Uh, the thing is that the energy is coming at you. Okay, with Virgo, whatever happens in Virgo, the energy comes at you, and that can be good because you want partners to come at you, to come for you. But this is a new opportunity, Pisces, an epiphany or a realization of something in regards to partners. And what the universe does, God does, beautiful wisdom, is partners always mirror how you feel inside. So, any kind of partners, business, platonic, personal, intimate, they are your mirror. they will reflect back to you how you're feeling inside. That's one way that the solar eclipse might play out. The other way is partners can be helpful in letting you know what how to make it work. And in this case, since Virgo is a detail-oriented sign, it naturally rules the sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling, taking care of someone, small animals, and all that. And all that might be playing out with a partner or partners for you. Um, the operative word is detail oriented, or the devil is in the details, because you might be feeling all at sea. No pun intended. Fishes, see, get it? Um, because you've recently had, or are having still, Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th house of this your psyche and your alone time, um, and and then we have Saturn and Neptune that went into your second house of job and income, and there's Uranus just stepped into Gemini, your fourth house of home and family. So there's huge shifts happening in your deeply emotionally rooted fourth house of home and family, your value system and your job, um, and your psyche. Suffice it to say, Pisces, like I said, and besides that, Pisces naturally love to be alone. Not alone as in no relationship, but like every every so much in time, you need to pull back and be alone, because you are such an empathetic sign. You just expend all that energy on others, um, empathizing and sympathizing, and you need that time alone to retreat, to juice up, to regenerate your batteries. So you're naturally inclined to that, as well as you're the two fishes. One goes one way, the other goes the other way. So it's do as I say, not as I do, sort of theme. And with all these other things going around, you um, your friends, your partners, your children, your parents might be saying like, "What's going on with you? Can I just get 5 minutes or so?" Um, for many of you, a friend might be saying that more. Maybe not a partner, but many others as partners. Um, in any case, what this solar eclipse is doing, it's giving you a new opportunity or realization, or a partner that's going to come at you to ground you, because you might be like, I don't know what's going on, um, and to help you um, incrementally um, um, uh, organize all this that's going on with you, because you see it as overwhelming. Um, there's so much going on and so many details to keep track of and so many people to take care of or please, that you don't know where to start, and you still need your alone time, so that you don't know you're overwhelmed, and that's why you may be having friends or family say like, what's going on with you, and you might be like, I don't know how to organize this and still have my alone time for my mental health. And Virgo is the perfect sign. You're lucky that you have Virgo in your seventh house. Many of you might disagree with me on that and say, no, it's just too analytical. But for you, Pisces, like I said, because you're a water sign and the two fishes, um, you need structure. And water is not attuned to structure. So the universe has blessed you with a partnership sign that is very much into honing in on what the problem is, finding the detail that's not working, and giving you incremental, result oriented ways of going about it. So, in closing, what I'm trying to say is there is an opportunity, realization, or epiphany that's going to come through from a partner that's going to help you stabilize um, all these things that's going on in your life, in easy step-by-step ways of doing it, so that you will have results, good results here. Um, and this solar eclipse is actually filling up the void of the vacuum that has been left of of the total lunar eclipse, sorry, that happened in Virgo back in March. So a partnership might have ended, um, an important partnership. And you did have a new moon in Virgo the end of last month. Um, and we have all these retrograde planets. So there may be a reconciliation in the works. Um, and again, if it's about that, um, there's this solar eclipse, this new opportunity that's going to come in, um, through a partner. Because remember, Virgo is opposite of you, so the energy is coming at you. That's going to help you, um, with a reconciliation, or a new relationship that's going to seem much more grounded. Um, or it might be a platonic partnership or a business partnership that just organizes everything that's so chaotic now for you, Pisces. All right. Um, yeah, short and sweet. I'm there's a lot more to say, but I want to stick to the solar eclipse. If you do have any questions, please throw them in the comments. I do answer all questions. I'll talk to you in your October scope. Take care.